Oh my God. Got a lot of stuff going on here. Oh, I don't know how we take that out of here. How's everyone doing? Oh, there we go. All right, all right. Gonna move around a little bit. How's everybody doing? I know you've seen me on today, but this is a special alert, and I'm coming on because it is a special alert where I need to come on to bring some conversation about a topic that we need to discuss, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're up for it. I hope you're ready for this topic because it is an emergency topic that we have got to study on. And just hold tight here. We'll have you back up and running. For those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, I hope you're still hanging in there with me. You've got your Omi Inca 7, and we got a lot of sunlight here in Indianapolis. Okay, let me see here. If that is too much, I'm gonna have to turn the blinds on and get some of this sunlight off of us. If you just wait patiently, I will have you ready and up and going. Okay, there's a little bit of relief on its way. Okay, here we go. Now, I think you can see a little bit better now. This is Omega 7 coming to you from Omi's production studio. For those YouTubers out there and for those people that follow me on Facebook, how are you today? And I'm bringing a special segment because there's no way that this discussion could go on without Harriet giving her 2 cents, because one of these topics concerns Harriet, and Harriet is a little up in arms about things, and she told me, she said, look here, Army, you got to go on today. You got to go on today. Listen, go ahead on. You go ahead on me, and you talk and represent me. I am Amita Ross, Harriet Tubman for short, and somebody need to know how I feel about the selection of Hollywood and who they've chosen to play me and how out of tune they are. But first, go ahead on and give your discussion on the topic of the Africans selling y'all into slavery and debunking the myth. And that's what I'm here for. Okay, Harriet just interrupted and she's talking a little too soon, and I won't talk on that second subject until a little bit later. However, I'd like to get on with the discussion that the emergency was brought on for. And a lot of you know that I am definitely concerned about anything that pertains to us as a black people. And let me say this much. One thing I want to say is that there is a lot of myths out there, and this light still seems to be coming in. Maybe if I came around this way, we can get away from some of the light. Okay, maybe I can. Sometimes it's good to have light, and then sometimes it's not. So, try to see if I can do this a little bit better here. Uh-oh, hold tight. All right, that's a little bit better. Okay, how's everybody doing today? We got all these YouTube people here with us today, and we got our family from the Facebook. How's all the people doing in the Facebook land? They got so much stuff going on down here that I can't see anyone coming in. All right. Okay, once again, let me say this much. I am just, appalled to know that we still haven't gotten it together. We're still wondering who sold us into slavery, and we're still putting out that old myth, all these myths about, yes, we know the Africans sold us into slavery, and we're supposed to be angry at the Africans for selling us into slavery, yet they have nothing to substantiate which tribe sold us into slavery. They have no documented receipts to prove and substantiate this. And it's kind of sad because the Caucasians put out in the myth that we were sold into slavery by our own people. But we had nothing to substantiate that. We just went running with it because they put it in the history books, and we went running with it. We didn't even do our due diligence and explore it. I'm still not happy with this light coming in, and I'm going to close that light. We still don't realize that we're still under the Willie Lynch theory, and we must remember that it was our arch enemies who taught us and put history books together. It was our arch enemy that told us that we came over on ships. And for some reason, we can't seem to find any ships or the sails that brought us over on the good ship Jesus. And we still are looking for those ships, and we haven't found them yet. Now, I would like to say for the record that a number of us are going with the lies and the myths that we were sold into slavery by our own people because that's what the history book says. Now remember, it is his story. He wrote the history books. And you must remember that we have nothing to substantiate this but his history books. So you cannot go on fallacies and lies, and you cannot go based on his philosophy. We don't have the evidence from Africa chiefs and priests. Most of them say it never happened. And some of them are not aware of it at all in their lifetime. So if we can substantiate it, why are we fighting with our brothers? And why are we turning our heads against them, saying that you're not our brothers and that we can't say that you're us and we're you? Yes, we can. By virtue, we have the Nubian burnt skin. And no matter what any history books say, we have the intestinal linings of an African. Check the history. There was an experiment done to spill the guts of an African from the Western world and from an African from Africa land. And it was determined that the intestinal flora was still the same as the African in Africa and the Africa of the diaspora. They were the same. They were no different. No other people can you spill their guts and say that they are the same. That tells us they are our brothers and sisters. We did come from that country. We might have been over here in the United States, but we did arrive from that country. And we're connected in some type of way. Any fool would know that. Now, here we are perpetuating this heresy of the white man, utilizing his books to argue against, knowing that he printed the doggone thing and published it. So there is a conflict of interest because he wrote the book, he put in the book what he wanted it to say, that we were sold into slavery. And then he substantiated it, then he published the book and sold it to our country, and then we picked the book up and said, now here, it's in the history book. Everything you find in the book is not true. And I want to say, I've had a chance to listen to what some of the chiefs had to say about this whole nonsense. And most of the chiefs are not aware of the fact that they sold African Americans into slavery, nor they're aware of the fact that their ancestors sold us into slavery. That's good enough for me. Now, what are we trying to prove? That they were more involved in our detriment than the white man was? Have they caused us hell like the white men have? Have they beat us? Have they branded us? Have they put us in cages and put harnesses around our neck? Did they do these brutal things to us during slavery? It started from the 1600th century, 1700, 1800, 1900, all the way up into the 21st century for peony. And they're still encapsulating some of the Africans in slavery under peony who don't even know they're enslaved. So, what is this argument about anyway? And whose report will you believe? Are you going to listen to an argument where they go back and forth about who put us into slavery? Are you going to listen to that? Hold for 1 minute here. We got a little sunlight problem. Okay, here's a family coming in. How is everyone? We got a lot of sunlight in here, family. We're trying to get out of the sunlight, but I don't think we can do it. Okay. Can everyone see? It's a little bright around here. Hold on. Okay, that's a lot better. All right, how's my Facebook family doing here? Thank you so much for being patient with me. You've got your own Miika 7 live here coming to you to discuss the myths of our own African family selling us into slavery. And I must say that it is a myth until it can be substantiated as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if you read it in a book, that somebody found it in a book that we sold our own our African Americans into slavery. I don't care that you found it in a book. I question a lot that we find in the book. We must remember that those books were published and written by Anglo-Saxons, and they were substantiated, and they had a lot to do with what was said in those books. They had a lot to do with what was said in those books. And we must understand that we've got to get a grip of ourselves. We know that the Willie Lynch theory is still alive and well. If we can turn the darker against the darker, then let's do it. Let's keep on perpetuating that their own people sold them into slavery to get us off the hook. We must remember that our African people didn't hold us in captivity, brand us, beat us, and tar us with tar and feathers, and rape us and put our children in arms danger. We must remember this is not an argument of which one sold us, because truly somebody had to have stolen us, because the Africans didn't get rich from it. They're not running their own country. If they were, they wouldn't have had apartheid. They would have taken over the white man in their country a long time ago. So it tells you they're at a dilemma too. And they can outsource guns and beat them at what they do best, and that is their military infantry. So they were in bondage just like the Jews were to Hitler. So stop it and come off of these things that we must divide ourselves from our African brothers. We must not divide ourselves from our African brother, and we must claim Africa, because they want us to disclaim Africa so that we will not take a share of the pie. Hold on. Hello. Hello. Sorry about that. As I indicated, we must be very, very careful to realize who wrote these textbooks and who put their belief system in there. And we must be careful not to just use those as our reference. And we have to make sure that we understand that we didn't publish books during that time. Hello? Go opposite the light. Okay. Let me see here. Hello? Hello, L.A. Harris. Hello, Greg Davis. And hello, Wendy Brooks. Hello, Ontavius. Okay, L.A., hi, I'm glad you're with us today. Now, if you do want to get a mic, L.A., and if you want to go up front and speak, you can. And we're glad to have you. And hello, Eddie and Eugene, how are you? Now, as I was saying that we have to, now, L.A., if you want to go up front with the camera and talk, please do. Okay, I've added you. And you can come on whenever you get ready. I wanted to say that we've got a lot of people creating confusion and perpetuating the Willie Lynch theory among us, where they are putting out that the Africans sold us into slavery, and they're making a final statement on it, and they cannot without substantial evidence, and they haven't did their due diligence. These are just notation, anecdotal notes that are put in the textbook saying this, but there is no proof or evidence. And I say, bring me the evidence to anyone out there. Bring me the evidence. And Africans are not even sure that this happened, and they're questioning who said this and why. So we have to really look at the situation. What is the point of bringing that up? They know that the Africans are held in bondage in their own country, and they're fighting still yet apartheid. And if they're still fighting apartheid, if they had such things to gain from being on, from selling us into slavery, they would be rich and running their countries now. And they're still struggling, and they're still fighting apartheid in their own country. So it tells me that they were held hostage while other people ran the slave trade and who got rich off of it. Now, I'm waiting for some input from some of you, and I'm not going to talk so much today. And I'm hoping that LA goes up to the top again and he comes on board there. LA, can you come on? I don't know how to get you to come on and what we got to do. It says adding, but what does that mean? They make this so difficult. I have got another site for us that I'm going to be able to bring you into, but I don't want to take everybody off of this. And they just recently approved it, so I could bring you in and you can talk. So, LA, are you out there? I see it says adding, but what does that mean? Maybe I need to go down here and add you. Okay. Okay. I've invited you, LA, and I don't know what else to do. It says I recently invited you. Okay, LA, I've invited you. Okay, LA, I'm trying to invite you now. I don't know. I just don't know what's going on. I've tried to invite. LA used to have like a little. Okay. LA, are you in the room? It shows you up there, but I don't know what it's going to take to bring you up to talk. Hello, Larry. I can't seem to get it to work. Anyway, I wanted to bring to your attention that there's been some discussion about the Africans selling us into slavery. I wanted to know your opinion, and has this in your mind been substantiated, or is it just a lot of hoopla where people are putting the blame completely on the Africans, and they're wanting us to turn against our own African brothers and sisters so we can begin the Willie Lynch theory all over again. And whenever somebody's trying to get out of being accused, they usually point the finger and start to fight all over. And there has been a lot of myths out there that have not been substantiated. And I'm wondering, is there anyone that would like to speak on the topic? We're trying to get LA to come out and to speak. We're trying to get him up here. And I don't know, I've only had somebody up here one time. I don't know how they got up here that time. And I tried everything. I can't seem to get you up here. And see, LA, I've already invited you. Okay. Okay. Well, people, I'm not going to even worry about it because I can't seem to get it to. Maybe if you type something in there, LA, then maybe it'll allow you to come in. I'm trying everything on this end, but I can't seem to get anything to work. Well, I can't seem to get it, and okay, anyway, let's get back on the topic here. LA, if you're able to get in up there, I'm going to ask you, it says adding. So are you adding or is it just saying that? Okay, one of the topics that I brought today was, ladies and gentlemen, the myth, debunking the myth of the Africans selling us into slavery, our African from Africa. And if they are, is there some substantial evidence to prove that they sold us into slavery? And where is the evidence? And is it written in the books that were published by the Anglos? If so, could that be a conflict of interest? Now, one of the other things you must also understand is that it would be to their benefit to put it off on our own people. Then we wouldn't hover harsh feelings against them. So they have an advantage to benefit from saying this. But we can't be stupid enough to believe that if it was in their textbooks and if they wrote it, they wouldn't write anything that would be positive about our own African people. They would slant the truth. So what is your opinion? And how do you feel about this? And there's a lot of discussion going on about that. And they're having various different groups say that because now that an English girl who actually is an African who wants to play the part of Harriet Tubman, who is not an African American, but an African. And they the Hollywood is considering her as being the leading star and playing the role of Harriet Tubman, Amita Ross. And the understanding that I get is that there's discussion out there saying that no African has the right to play a role of an African American who doesn't know the struggle. Now, I look at it as this way. We've got to come to grips with the fact that yes, they're from Africa and we're from the diaspora, but we are Africans as one. And we are the same people with just different experiences. And we just can't go around pretending not to be African with these burnt skin faces. If that is the case, where do we come from? We sure didn't come from the Caucasian. So does anybody have any opinion on that? Now, I certainly believe that an African American should play the role of Harriet because we know the experience and we've been through the experience. I don't think that an African can express our experience and what we've been through in slavery because they are not familiar with how slaves were kept and they don't have the background history that we have gone through and knowing about our ancestors who suffered during slavery. Africans are not, they're not, how can I say it? They're not in touch with what our ancestors went through because their ancestors were kings and queens and they didn't experience the type of slavery from the transatlantic slavery that we experienced. So I don't believe that an African from Africa can play that role and do a justice job of doing so. What is your opinions? Now, I'm not going to talk on here too long today because I see that you're just statues in the Facebook and you're not able to do anything or say anything. I don't understand it. I think it's just my Facebook page and I'm going to have to stop using Facebook because it is annoying when I have to do all the talking. So is there anybody that wants to say something? If you do, please step up and say something. Now, I see you typed something, Lamont. How were you able to type that? Will you please tell the audience how they can type something? Because this will be my last time coming on here if I can't get any satisfaction with other people bringing their opinions. I'm going to try to give everybody a camera that I can. Larry Lowe, I'm giving you a camera. Eddie. Okay. Now, I have YouTube on as well as Facebook. And for those of you who have not viewed my YouTube channel, it is Omi's Production Studio, and you can go out on the YouTube channel and also view that. And I'm just getting used to a lot of things that are going on here at YouTube. Okay, let me see. I'm going to see if I can messenger anybody on YouTube. Okay. Now, I can't seem to pull it up. And one of the things I want to say is that sometimes these, okay, do we have anybody that's coming in the screen here? Look like there's somebody here at the screen. Okay, Facebook, are you guys with me? I can't hear anybody say anything. And I'm going to hit your camera too, Michael. Now, what do you normally have to do in order to come on camera? How you doing, Elder Obadiah? Micah Obadiah, how are you? Can everybody give me a wave out there that I know you're out there? If you can give me a wave and I'll know you're out there. Because it just says you're watching, but it doesn't say what you're watching. Hi, Derek Morris, Terry Williams, Clyde Smith, hello. I did say hello. I didn't get any hellos back. Larry Lowe's watching. Eugene King, LA. Greg Davis, Wendy Brooks, Ontavius. Okay. You see how I can get you guys to, I can't seem to get, I don't know how you guys can write. Some kind of way you're writing. See, they give me a screen, but you can't do anything here. Well, I need you guys to say something because I'm going to tune you off on Facebook and go right into YouTube. I'm waiting for YouTube. Come on. I can't seem to get you guys in here. I don't know what it is. Can anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me out there? If you can, please give me a hands up or something. It doesn't look like I have any pull to do anything here for some reason. And Thomas, I'm trying to add you, but it's not letting me. I see you're at the top here. Okay, is there anybody out there that has any opinion on this topic that I'm discussing here? We're talking about the Africans selling us into slavery. How do we debunk that myth? And is it truth? And is there any substantial evidence to support it? I'm adding you on, Wendy Brooks. So can you come up to the front room and say something? Wendy, I'm adding you on if you want to come to the front room to say something. Okay, Thomas, I got you added in. Anthony Robinson, how are you? Aloan Morris, how are you? Alwayne Morris, brother. Hello. Drake Morris, how are you? Now, we're on this airway trying to bunk the myths of the African from Africa, motherland Africa, selling the African Americans into slavery. Is that truth? And is there anything to substantiate that? And would you like to give your opinion on what you believe? Now, I am looking for some beliefs. You don't have to have facts in this room today. What is your belief on the topic? Okay. Greg, I thought I gave you a camera. It says give you a camera. Are there any opinions today? Nobody's speaking today. Now, I don't know what it takes for you guys to type, but I'm asking anybody that can get access to the typewriter to type something so I can know you're there. Okay? All right, I'm going to tune out with Facebook today. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. All right. We're still here on YouTube recording. Sorry about that. Um, this is the airing time to talk about what are our viewpoints about the myth and debunking the myth for Africans to sell African Americans into slavery? Is there enough evidence to substantiate this as being factual? And where might we find the evidence to substantiate the philosophy that African Americans were sold into slavery by their own African people? And who printed these history books? And can we very well accept the statements that the Caucasian may write because it might be a biased opinion? So we want to know, is it right for us to fight amongst ourselves and to turn against our own African people in lieu of accusing them of selling us into slavery? Now, the other question I asked, we wanted to also look into, do we think that it would be appropriate for Hollywood to cast a non-African American as Harriet Tubman, Harriet Amita Ross Tubman, to cast her as a Nigerian African young lady? Would it be believable for us to believe a Nigerian African woman playing the role of an African American during the height of slavery and depicting the hardships that slaves go through? I'm going to leave that on your mind for discussion, and we're going to check out of here. Thank you so very much for tuning in today, and we'll hear from you soon. Thank you.